everybody, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kids, and welcome to part 2 of my colour along. There will only be 2 parts. I've managed to fit everything into this video. So as always, as a disclaimer, it's the summer holidays now and my family are around, so if you can hear any noise or music, that's just them. But yeah, I'm really excited to share with you part 2. I was so pleased with the response for the first part, and lots of you were so kind and commenting and saying you really enjoyed it, so it really meant a lot, and I'm really excited that you have been enjoying it. So this is part 2 where we're finishing off all of the colouring and also doing all the embellishments. So in this part there's a few more fine liners that I'm going to be using, lots of gel pen and stuff at the end, which we'll get to. I filmed this in 2 separate parts in terms of the voiceover, so this part is all of the colouring, and then there'll be another section with the embellishments. So with the daisy right now, you might have seen that I did the middle with fine liners, and the orange one is from the set of 6, the pastel set, but the yellow is an open stock one that I got. I think it's called Vanilla, and I love it. It's a muted yellow colour and it's gorgeous. So I did nothing special with that. It was just fine liner and then just doing pointillism with the orange, so just putting a few dots where I think there would be shadow. And then here I did a very light layer of the magenta, and now I'm burnishing with the Deco pink. So I'm leaving a couple of white edges on the petals because, well, realistically actually, daisies would be the other way around. They would have, I think, the pink on the outside petals, but that's just kind of how I colour my flowers. So that's pretty much all there is to it for that. And I thought it kind of went nicely with the pinks that we've already got. So you'll see that in this video a lot of the colours have been reused because it's a tutorial. I wanted to try and make it as accessible as possible and not have to not basically using the whole set of Prismacolors. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. And again, I'm burnishing here with the sky blue light. So I also had a suggestion. Let me just find it and I'll read it for you. So I had a lovely suggestion from Suzette, who emailed me, and she said that if I could list all of the numbers or names of the colours that I was using in my video, and that's something that I will be doing for this part, because I completely agree with her. You know, it's much easier to have all the colours that you need already and then just be able to use them rather than having to pause the video every time you want to find a new colour. So lots of the colours that were used on the first part should be in the second part anyway, but there are a few exceptions. So I'll be listing all of the names of the Prismacolors that I use. So I will do that for you because I think it will be a lot easier. So here with the bees, I was just layering a bit with the darker colours. So with the, I think I used bronze. I wasn't on the screen when it came up, but then yeah, I was burnishing with the lighter colours and then adding a bit of the salmon pink just for a bit of variation. And then here you can see I'm using a jelly roll glaze, but it's grey. So grey is actually a really lovely colour. I don't have all of the jelly roll glazes. I only have a clear one, a blue, and the grey. And the grey isn't as dark as the black, obviously. It's not as opaque, but it's a really lovely one, and I do use it for quite a lot of things. So there, the bees done. So moving on to the shell now, and this is where there's a, you know, quite a few new colours because I wanted to keep the shell relatively realistic, but also to tie in with the shells of the snails. So it's a lot lighter than those, but there's some new colours in there. So you can see I'm just lightly layering for most of this shell. And this rosy beige colour actually features quite a lot in the page also. I really love this colour. Sorry if you can hear the music in the background, it's quite loud for me, but it might not be for you. But yeah, I'm just kind of going where I think there would be shadow. And again with this, I think I did it at 1.25 speed, so it's really not that much faster than normal colouring, but it just cuts down pretty much a quarter of the video time, which is always good, and I can't really tell a difference. I hope it's okay for you. So with the Rosy Beige, obviously it's got quite a lot of grey in it, and I think it does make it a really good shadowing colour. So at the moment this is just all light layers. And then we come in with the henna. So this is kind of the main shadowing colour, and in contrast to the darker colours for the snail shells, which are more browny, this has obviously got quite a lot of red in it, and it's kind of almost, it's got brown in it but also the red, so it's a gorgeous colour. Only using a tiny bit of that. And then the Nectar is more kind of sandy, but it's still got that rich pinkness to it. So this is all light layering, just going over the same sorts of areas to build it up, because for the shell I didn't want too much of the Rosy Beige coming through. I wanted that to kind of be the undertone, and then for the other colours to be the shadowing colours and kind of the main one. I love the fact that this is an instrument as well, it's like a horn. So just going back to blend in a bit with the Rosy Beige. I think the light peach is great for this though, because it's quite a light colour and burnishes really well with the layers that have already been put down. So here I'm actually not burnishing that much because of all the layers that have been put down already. It kind of lends itself to there not being much white space anyway, so there's not too much burnishing that needs doing really. It's kind of just going over what's already there and kind of toning down the darker colours. So we are now moving on to the ribbon around the frog and some of the flowers. So the flowers are exactly the same colours, at least the small daisy-like flowers are exactly the same colours as the daisy that we just did. So with this ribbon, you can see that there are some new colours that are introduced, and one of the other main colours that I used in this, well actually sorry, it's not a new colour, it's one that was already used on the trees, but it's introduced a lot more into the rest of the page. So this is the Mahogany and the Raspberry and Deco Peach. So I use those a lot, I use it for the lanterns as well, and I just love the colour, really like it. So with the Mahogany, I am doing the shadows and I forgot to switch the paper, so at the moment here I'm actually using Raspberry, but having said that, the colours are very similar anyway, so you could just use Mahogany or just use Raspberry and you'd still get the same effect. So I'm mainly just doing shadows with both of them anyway, so I apologise for that, but it shouldn't matter too much. And then the idea with the Deco Peach is because it's very light, it burnishes in really well and adds more of a peachy tone to the darker colours. So here I am burnishing, and because the colours are so different, there is a real contrast even when burnishing it in, so I find that it gives a really nice effect and I like how it looks. There are some slight areas that I've kind of left to highlight on the edge, and that's just something I like to do as well. Really the thing about these colour alongs is that I kind of want to show you my style and how I would do it, so this isn't really different from how I would colour a page. I feel like what I would have used to do when I first started the channel was I would make sure that everything was absolutely perfect for the tutorial. I would try and do the best colouring possible, and I'm really proud of this page, but it's not dissimilar from what I would like how I would colour usually, because this page didn't actually take me that long. Lots of these little details here didn't take that long, so I won't spend ages on a tiny thing if I don't think it needs that much detail. Obviously I spent time on the shells and the frog especially, because I really wanted them to look realistic, but some of the other things I just colour how I would colour them. So you can see this bit of the ribbon, I'm doing exactly the same shading and stuff as I did with the other part of it. In fact, all of this that you're seeing was done yesterday, so I did pretty much do it all in one go and it didn't take too long. I did keep cutting off and starting the clips again because I had to readjust the camera to get it in the right place, but apart from that it was all filmed in one day. So I've just gone in with an orange fine liner for the middles of the flowers, and that again is from the pastel set Staedtler fine liners. It's a set of 6. So here I'm going in with the magenta and the Deco pink. In hindsight I probably would have done even less magenta because even then it's quite dark and it's quite similar to the ribbon, so it's actually showing up a lot lighter on the camera. But yeah, it's still, I think, contrasting enough, but I end up going over with glitter on the middles of the flowers. And then this was the lilac that I was obviously bringing back from doing the bottles, so I wanted to reuse colours that I'd already used. So on the bottle jars at the top I had used lilac for the backgrounds, so you can see here I'm using Deco pink and lilac to just do these flowers. They kind of remind me of crocuses. So the thing for me that was quite hard with the leaves was not making the green too similar to the frog, because obviously that's quite a bright green, quite lime coloured, same as the snails. And the leaves I had done, which will be shown after this I think, down at the bottom of the picture was sort of the same colour, and they would just blend in too much. So I decided to go with the same leaf colour as the big leaves that they're sitting on. So that is what I've done, and I actually do go in with the kelp green a bit more to just add shadow around this ribbon, because I didn't think there was enough shadow, and I will do that a lot. I'll finish a page and then think, I think there needs to be a bit more shadow there, just to add a bit more contrast, because sometimes it's not until you've coloured that object that you realise there needs to be more shadow. It's quite hard to do the shadow in advance. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just going over quite a few areas to create more contrast, and I'm really glad I did that because I'm much happier with it now. So to me, everything on the page is almost a work in progress until it's all finished. So I didn't just leave the frog as it was, I did make changes to it. So now I believe I'm doing the sweet. So again, I'm utilising the same colours. So we have the lilac and Deco pink, process red and Deco peach, I think. So all of the same colours that I did on the bottles at the top, but they are slightly different in tone. They're not quite as dark. So here I'm doing a light layer of the lilac. So because I blend with the Deco pink, I don't want the overall effect to be too purpley, so it does create a slightly different effect, which I like. So now I'm burnishing with the Deco pink. I absolutely love all of these light colours that are in the Prismacolor set, and it was so fun experimenting with just this set. And yeah, I definitely want to try and just use one set for a page, because it is a challenge for me, but it was really fun. And I think actually I have found new colour combinations that I wouldn't have necessarily found, because I would have just gone to the same sort of combos from mixed sets. So this was really, really interesting. So now I'm going in with a purple fine liner, which again is from the 6 set of pastel fine liners by Staedtler. And I will tend to do this a lot. If there's lots of little details like this, I'll just go in with a fine liner because I really love using them. And I have been using them a lot more recently. So yeah, I just went over all of those small details. I also think it's really satisfying using the fine liners as well. I really enjoy using them. So going in with the Process Red, this is a very, very light layer. You don't need that much. It's like the daisies. I probably could have gone even lighter with the magenta that I use, but they're very, sorry if you can hear I'm sneezing. It's very similar in terms of they're very bright, vivid colours, and I didn't really want that effect. So if you do want a brighter, sweet colour, by all means, you can go full in and press really hard. But for me, I wanted it to just be a shadow colour for the Deco Peach. So I'm going in really, really lightly, just on all of those shadowed areas. And now I'm burnishing with the Deco Peach. And I love the fact that this isn't as pink either. It does have, you know, quite a kind of like the light peach and the salmon pink colour, slightly lighter than that. It's such a good blending colour though. I absolutely love it. So I wanted to do the sweets pink because I think it ties in nicely with the top of the page. Obviously there's quite a lot of colours here and there from the page anyway, because you know you've got the bees that are yellow at the top, but then I also use yellow for the lanterns at the light from the flame. So I do try to make pages as cohesive as I can. So I am just blending a bit with the white. I don't do this as often as I used to. I used to blend everything with white, but I only use it sometimes if I feel like something needs to be toned down a bit. And then I just went in with a tiny bit of shadow for the Process Red, just to make a bit more contrast. So now I'm going in with the green fine liner, again from the pastel set. I think I ended up using 4 of the 6 colours. Orange, pink, purple and green, and then some of the open stock ones. Actually, I think it was just the vanilla one that I used that was open stock. But yeah, I just coloured in the stalk for the leaves because I like doing that. It's just quite a nice touch. And I'm so happy with how I coloured these leaves. They took a long time because there were quite a few on the page, but I just thought they were so fun. And I like that there's 3 kind of lines where the shadow is. It doesn't just go, like where the line is on the leaf, I don't just do shadow there, I do it around the sides as well. And that's something that I've been doing a lot recently. So I'm doing a light layer with the pale sage, very, very similar to the big leaves, but obviously there's less room for shading. So you do have to make sure that your pencils are quite sharp. And just to let you know, on the left side of the page next to the 2 lanterns that are together, there are some curved leaves, and there were only 2 little bits that were curved, so I decided to just do them all the same colour. So I won't be showing you how I colour those because they're exactly the same as these ones, except they've got a curved edge rather than pointed. So here I am shading with the olive green, and as you can see I'm going in the 3 places with the darker colour. And you'll see that quite often I do this. I will go in with the lighter colour first, then the middle colour, then the dark. then go back to the middle colour, and then finish off with the lighter colour. Sometimes I don't do that. I mean, I know there's loads of different colouring techniques that people use. Some people go in with the darker colour first and finish with the light. Some people do a light layer of the light colour and then go to the dark and work their way down. That's what I tend to do. Do a light layer and then work my way down from dark to light, but not always, and this is one of the exceptions. If I want to take my time with something, I'll kind of do this, but if I'm not really bothered about adding loads of shadow like this and I want to just burnish, then I will just go from dark to light. So I think we're moving on to the fairy now. So I'm doing her hair the same sorts of colours as the snail shells. So I decided to do it brown to tie in with that. And the stalks of the mushrooms that I'll show you, they are also brown. Just again to tie in with that. So with the hair, there was quite a few lines already. So, you know, the Sandbar brown is not too dark. I didn't want her hair to be really dark, but with the shadowing, it was it might have been quite hard to see. So now I'm going in with the burnt ochre, and I think this is a really nice colour to shade with actually, because it's obviously got that red tone to it, and that's what I really like about the snail shells. So I'm mainly going on all of the lines that I didn't colour before, and Seashell Pink I'm now using to fill in all of the gaps, and this is a colour that I really like now. I've been using it a lot, and I find that it's quite similar to Cork in the Holbein set, and I absolutely love that as the undertone for wood, and I use it a lot, and especially when I'm doing trees and Clara Markover's books, I will use it a lot. So this has been a really lovely colour to use, and I think having a colour like this is quite nice to shade with the colours for kind of brown, because it doesn't really have any brown to it. It's got a bit of grey, a bit of peach. I love it. And then I'm just adding a tiny bit of yellow with the cream, just to add a bit of you know, kind of difference to it. And then going back in with the Sandbar brown to add more shadows. Sorry if it was a bit blurry there. I kind of figure because she's quite small anyway in the page, I wouldn't spend too long worrying about doing loads of little strokes for her hair because it's not that big. And now I'm doing her skin. So I actually don't tend to use Prismacolors for skin. I will use Crayola or Black Widow pencils or Holbein. I do use Prismacolor sometimes, but I'm less I don't really know how to colour with them as well, and so it was a bit of a learning curve for me to just do this, because usually I would just gravitate towards colours that I know work for me, and you know me, I don't really colour skin that much, but obviously there's lots of fairies in this book, so I kind of just layered a few of the colours that I had used for the shell previously, and I think I could have added maybe a bit more shadow. If you guys are better at doing skin than I am, you'll probably be able to think of how you could have even deeper tones, maybe add a purple in there for some shadow, or grey or something like that, because I know that's what lots of people do. So I'm not an expert on skin, so it has always been something that I haven't really done much of. So I would say that, especially when it's a bigger person on a page, if they're the central focus, I do struggle with it sometimes. So here I'm just going in with Deco Peach a bit, just to blend and also add some shading to the cheeks. I'm going back in with Nectar. I had to rub a bit out there because I'd gone really, really dark with the Nectar. Sorry, that was my chair. So then just burnishing with the light peach. So this is all kind of light layers with the skin, because I wanted to be careful that I didn't go too dark with the Nectar, because it's quite a bright colour. So now going in with the Lilac for her dress or nightie. This was really fun actually, because I did a page in Flora last Christmas, and I think I did a purple dress again. Sorry, I've just moved around a bit. I did a purple dress with the Black Widows and then blended with peach, and that's kind of what I did again here. I really liked the effect when I did it before, so I decided to do it again. And again, it ties in with the purple that I've used on the page as well. So I thought rather than introducing another colour, I would do this. So I'm going in with the Lilac where I think all of the shadowed areas would be, and then I will blend with light peach and cream, I think. And it doesn't matter at this point if I go over the flowers, because I will go over with the gel pen. That's kind of what I tend to do. If there's small details like that, it doesn't really matter if I colour over them, because I just love the fact that you can go over anything with the gel pen and it won't show what's behind it. So yeah, I'm blending with the light peach now, and it creates a really nice effect. I love how it looks. It's kind of a new colour combo that I came across. And because I thought at the moment it was looking too similar to her skin, that's why I decided to add the cream after this. So I've gone in a bit more with the Deco Peach, because I found that the light peach was slightly off to what I was looking for. So I went in with the Deco Peach and then burnished in with the cream, just to add a bit of definition. So I end up doing the flowers in a darker purple, and I really love that glitter gel pen, it's amazing. So I'm using that purple fine liner again just to do the outlines of her dress, and I realised now I've forgotten there's a tiny bit next to her feet that I didn't colour in. You could just do that in the fine liner or in any of the colours that have been used for the dress already, but it's a minimal thing that I've only just realised I've forgotten. So doing the wings now, it's exactly the same as the wings on the bees. So again, nothing new here. I'm just shadowing with the cerulean blue, light cerulean blue, and then going in with the sky blue light again. And I did play around a couple of months ago when I did that big Halloween page. I did all of their wings purple, I think, which was really fun. And with this, I kind of decided to stick with the blue because I had already got the blue in the background, but I hadn't done it anywhere else. You can see I'm just blending here and burnishing it so there's no white space. Okay, and then using the pink fine liner. I love this fine liner, it's amazing. And I'm just filling in all of the area on the outside of the wings here that haven't been coloured in. And what I tend to do with that is just do the fine liner as a light layer and then go over with clear glitter gel pen. I don't feel like for small things like that I need to do shading sometimes, I'll just leave it. But you could by all means use the pinks that have already been used in the pencils and shade with it. As I mentioned before, if you don't have any of the gel pens and stuff that I will be using, don't worry, they're not needed. You could just fill in areas with pencil, or yeah, just leave it, because you might not feel like it needs glitter or like gold or silver metallic gel pen. So here I was just utilising the blues that I'd already used, because these leaves were quite hard to think of what colour I was going to do, because I didn't want to just keep adding new colours, and there wasn't really much blue down at the bottom of the page anyway, so yeah, I just decided to use them. So I'm not using all of the blues that I used for the background, because again, they're such small areas, I didn't really feel like it needed too much shading. And then these leaves here are done with those beigey colours again, so it does have a bit of cream in there for interest, but yeah, it's got the rosy beige, which I really like, because again, it kind of ties in nicely with the shells, kind of dusky type colour, but also, you know, there's quite a lot of pinks and then the shell that the frog has. So I'm going in with the light peach now to blend it, and then I do add a bit of cream. There's a lot of these sorts of leaves in her books and I really love them. So yeah, as you can see, I'm going in with cream because I just felt like it needed a bit more. It wasn't quite what I was looking for to begin with. It's obviously a very muted colour, and you know me, I do love my muted colours, but if you felt like you wanted to do a completely different colour, please feel free. You don't have to stick to what I'm doing. And the last thing I'm doing here are my mushrooms. So Easter Ellen actually asked how I did my mushrooms, so I hope this helps if you're watching Easter. So this is how I would do see-through ones. So what I've done is I've taken the lightest colours from the greens, the blue background and the dusky colour, and I kind of imagine if it was see-through, what colour would you be able to see on each of the parts. So for this, some of the rosy beige leaf would have been behind it, so I added some of the light peach. There would have been a bit of the background showing, which is why I did the blue, and then there was a tiny bit of green that I thought would be there from that leaf. So I kind of just placed the colour where I think it would be, and then I burnish with the white. If it's a dark colour, say I did a picture a few months ago which was a night scene and then I did the mushrooms, what I will do is, because the colours are quite dark and I still want it to be see-through, I will do exactly what I've done here, then get some white ink, I use Winsor & Newton white ink, and do a layer of that just to lighten the colours even more. So once I've burnished that, sometimes I will go in with the colour again like I am here, just to add a bit more definition, so just to make the colour a little bit darker. And that's really all there is to it for the mushrooms. They're not complicated, and you can apply this technique to any mushrooms if you want them to be see-through. You know, even if a mushroom was in front of a tree, just know that most of the layer of the mushroom will need to be a lighter brown. So I hope that's helped. And then for the stalks of the mushrooms, I'm just going with a Sandbar brown and Seashell pink, I think, just to tie in with everything else. So yeah, I really tried to make sure that there weren't too many new colours introduced. And I think that's made me think a lot more about how I pick colours. So yeah, just adding a bit more shadow there. And then we have the 4-leaf clover here. So again, it's another part of the picture that would have traditionally been green, and I did want it to be green, but I didn't want it to be exactly the same as all of the other bits of green that we've already done in the page. So I started off with the fine liner, and then I did add a new colour to kind of switch it up a bit to layer. So sorry, you can't see that there. I did move it so that you can see. So I'm using the Celadon green as I have done before on the leaves, just to shade where the frog is, because again I felt like there needed to be a bit more shading, and I don't think I used Celadon green in the original frog, but it went well, so yeah, I just decided to use that, and then I shaded a bit with it. And obviously this has a lot of grey in it, so I did want to brighten it up with this colour that I use, light green, and I hardly ever use this colour. I used to use it a lot, but yeah, I just don't really use it, but it kind of added a bit of a different sort of green, and I really like that. And then I blended with the pale sage just to make it kind of similar to the other green that we've got, because I use pale sage a lot in the picture. I really need to get a new one, but the colour pencil shop unfortunately isn't getting any new Prismacolors until mid-August, I think, just because of stock being low and stuff because of COVID. But yeah, just going back in with the light green, and that's pretty much it for this. Oh, I did add a bit of the light green, my apologies. So I just added a bit of cream for a tiny bit more interest, because it was quite green and I wanted it to have a yellowish tinge to it. So I just shaded a bit on top of the fine liner, and that's the great thing about fine liner. You can do that so easily. I'm really sorry if you can hear the hoover. It's very loud for me, but you might not be able to hear it. Okay, and the final thing I think is the lantern. So with this, I am shading all of the actual lantern in the same pink colours as the ribbon, and then the actual lantern in the middle is similar to the mushrooms because I'm doing that see-through effect again, but then I also go over with the jelly roll glaze. So here I'm doing lots of little areas with the pink fine liner, and sorry you can't see the very bottom of the lantern, but I'm colouring it exactly the same as the other things. So yeah, I just filled in all of these areas with the pink, and this colour, I mean all of the fine liners lend themselves well to being layered over. It's just like putting a marker down as a base, except they don't bleed through, and I absolutely love fine liners for small details. I believe there's a 120 set of Inconic fine liners from Arteza. I don't know how many of the colours are lighter, because obviously for me I love to colour over them, so they are something that look amazing, and I don't know how many of them are very dark, but yeah, they might be something that would be good if you're into fine liners like I am. So yeah, for the candle here, it's very simple, just doing the French greys and blending them together. So for the flame here and the light around it, I use Salmon Pink, which I think was a new colour. I'm not sure if I'd used it before. But then yeah, I'm going in with some of the yellows that I used on the bee. So we've got the Jasmine for shadow, and then the cream to do the main bulk of the yellow, kind of to map out where all of it's going to go. But then I also went in with the Deco yellow, because that's quite a bright yellow in comparison, and I just wanted it to seem a bit brighter. So yeah, I did that. And it really does brighten it up and makes it seem more like a flame. And then I again am adopting the sense of see-through for the lantern. So at the bottom of this I felt like it would be the grass, but then closer to the top there would be a bit of blue on the right hand side area, which is what I did the cloud blue for. And then on the right hand, no sorry, got the wrong one. No sorry, on the left hand there would be a bit of the pink from the sweet, and on the right hand there would be blue. So it's not actually that complicated when working out what the see-through is. You kind of just got to imagine what would be behind it, and then you can place the colour. So as I said, all of the shading is exactly the same as the ribbon. So I'm placing where all of the shadow would be with the mahogany red, and then I will go in with the other colours. So I try not to use this too much because it's very bright. Sorry, no, not bright, dark, and I don't want it to be too dark. So moving on with the raspberry now. This is where I just fill in any of the details that I feel need shading but haven't been shaded yet with the darker one. And you can see there I did go over the, I even went over the fine liner with the darker colour. I hope the Hoover isn't too loud. You might not even be able to hear it, but I definitely can. But as I said, we're all at home, so it's to be expected. So now I'm just burnishing with the Deco Peach as before. I really enjoyed colouring these lanterns as well, they were really fun. Sorry, I had to just stop there because it's right at the edge of the page, this lantern, and I needed to make sure that I wasn't moving the page around too much because it was just in frame with the camera. I'd managed to set it up. And also I managed to figure out the zoom, as I mentioned in part 1. So I was able to zoom in and it wasn't blurry, and that was just a setting that needed to be changed on the video camera, so that's great. Managed to figure that out now. So yeah, I'm just finishing off all the blending here. It's so simple. You just press with quite hard pressure, and then here I'm using the clear Jelly Roll glaze and going over all of the panels where it would be see-through and kind of a glass. So yeah, I just go over with a layer of the glaze, and that's what I did for all of the lanterns. I just love doing it so much. It's such a fun pen, and it just adds that bit of shine to it. So that's everything for the colouring. As you can see, I just showed you what it looks like there, but after this is all done, so I finished colouring the other bits that I'd only done one of or so, like the leaves, and then I will be moving on to the embellishments right after this. Okay, so moving on to the embellishments now. In this clip I'm just showing you what I'm using, just so that you can get it all ready. So I have a set of 48 glitter gel pens. Again, if you don't have these, don't worry, you could just use normal coloured pencils if you wanted to. But I've got a purple, a green and a red there. I've got a clear glitter jelly roll, a silver Uniball Signo gel pen, a gold jelly roll metallic gel pen, a glitter silver Uniball Signo gel pen, and finally a pink glitter jelly roll gel pen. You could easily, if you have all of the Stardust glitter colours of red, purple and green, you could use those instead of the ones I'm using. But here I'm using a the gold jelly roll. And I do show you before I start colouring what I'm using, but I don't have slips of paper for these because it's easier to just show you what they are and tell you. So that's the clear glitter jelly roll. And for this, I kind of go over all of these berry bits because, especially with all of the other bits that are in the picture, it kind of reminds me of dewdrops. And so I think that they look really nice when they're kind of glittery, but they're still clear. So yeah, I decided to go for all of those. As you can see, I've just done one here. And what I tend to do with all of my gel pens and stuff is work from left to right. The only thing I realise I've forgotten to do are the chains of what's it called? Yeah, the chains holding the bottles at the top. So I would just do those with gold gel pen and silver. So now I'm using the silver on all of kind of these necklace bits, the chains, and that's exactly what I would use for the top bit. So apologies I didn't show that, I've just realised I've forgotten that as well. But yeah, it's really self-explanatory. You could use any colours you wanted for those. Again, it's exactly the same thing for the lanterns, and you can see here, even though I didn't show you how to do these two lanterns, they're very similar to the other one, and pretty much exactly the same. They are just slightly different, but I decided to just do them all the same colour. So yeah, I just had to readjust the camera there, and we are now going in with a red glitter gel pen. It can be any one, and here I'm kind of just adding a bit of shadow on these bits on the lanterns because I had used the pink gel pen and there were some lines on it, so yeah, I just decided to go in and shadow. And I also filled in some lines on the lanterns as well that had been coloured in with the fine liner. So here I just had to get the gold jelly roll working again, and I just did the doorknob on the lanterns in the gold jelly roll, and again I'm going in with the red again to do the other one. When it actually comes to doing the embellishment, there's quite a lot of embellishment to do, and obviously I'd already done some of it with the bottles at the top, and I'd already done all of the glaze, so yeah, it does actually take quite a long time. So going in with a silver glitter gel pen, it can be any. I just like to put lots of dots on the mushrooms because they're already there, and I figured, well, I might as well add sparkle, and I do that a lot with the other mushrooms on pages. So going in with a pink glitter gel pen. Now you can't actually see, and I realised that as soon as I've done it, which is really annoying. There we go, I did move it. So yeah, I just coloured in the heart with the pink glitter gel pen, and you could choose any colours you wanted for this sort of thing. I just decided to use a purple here to fill in all the dots because again I coloured over them because I knew I could just go over them with a gel pen. So these flowers are actually quite time consuming doing all of them, but yeah, I just went over all of the flowers. You do have to be careful when you're doing them, not to miss any out, and also to make sure that you don't smudge anything. So that's why, because I'm right-handed, I always try and work from left to right. So if you wanted to, that little bit that I mentioned that I forgot by her feet, you could just do the glitter gel pen if you wanted to, or just a purple pencil, something like that. Okay, so here with the what's it called, the wings, I outline everything with the clear jelly roll, and then I also just fill in and I go over the fine liner with the gel pen. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do for that. It's really, really simple, nothing fancy here. I just really like having all the wings glittery. You could even make the wings glittery on the bees at the top if you wanted to. That's something that I didn't do, but you could do that if you wanted to. Tried to show you there, it didn't show up very well, but that's what it looks like. So going in with the clear again, so I kept with the same pen, and I'm going in with all of those bits that I mentioned that were kind of like dewdrops. Going in with the red glitter gel pen again, I'm doing a few dots on the ribbon and a clear one again, keep switching between them. I'm going over all of the middles of the flowers as I mentioned, and also I outline the 4-leaf clover because, you know, 4-leaf clovers are quite magical. So yeah, I go over all of the outlines, even all of the fine linery bits as well. Realised I forgot a tiny, tiny part of those too. Have I got mine here? Got to do a tiny outline. But yeah, I basically just outline all of that. And then going in with the purple again. So really, I do use quite a few different gel pens, but I try to use them as much as possible to again keep everything cohesive. So yeah, I'm pretty much almost done. Just filling in the cherry and the strawberry with the red. And then, yeah, I'm going in with the clear glitter jelly roll again. And the gold. So this is exactly the same as before. And as I said, you could use these for the chains at the top of the picture as well that I forgot to do, and I will go back and do those. So apart from this, I then go in with a red glitter gel pen on the lanterns, which you will see. But yeah, I really, really hope you've enjoyed this video. I have really enjoyed doing this. It obviously does take up quite a lot of time, and it's not something that I could do regularly, but it's something that I could definitely do a few more of as obviously I keep making videos for my channel. So if you enjoyed it, please feel free to comment down below. If you have any if you have any criticism, I would really appreciate letting me know, but obviously in a kind way, because you know, I appreciate positive feedback and negative feedback as long as it's stated nicely. So yeah, if you do have anything that you maybe like to change, let me know. But I don't imagine I will be doing one of these too soon in the future, because as I said, it does take a long time, and especially past September with exams and stuff, it's going to get really busy. So I will talk more about that when we get there, but videos won't be as frequent as they used to be, because I have to focus on exams, but it's the summer holidays now. So yeah, yeah, again, I really hope you enjoy this video. If you do follow along, please feel free to email me. I would love to see your pictures. It would mean so much. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. So here's the finished results. I will leave you with that. And yeah, I will see you soon. Bye everyone.